So we're live now, is it? Okay. We'll sing something.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Joya
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Joya
another song that Devidasi Maharaj emphasized us to sing regularly.
Amana Dormati was one, and also Ki Jani Ki Bole was another one. You could sing that. It's page 166. I was thinking also we could sing the song Atma Samarpane, but I think that's really difficult to sing. Atma Samarpane Gelaya Bhimana. Okay, maybe I'll try and sing that after you sing Ki Jani Ki Bole.
So I think it's just a normal 2-beat.
Yeah.
What is the normal 2-beat change?
Ki Jani Ki Bole Tomara Damete Oinu Sharanagata.
Ki Jani Ki Bole Tomara Damete Oinu Sharanagata.
Ki Jani Ki Bole Tomara Damete Oinu Sharanagata.
Tumi doya moe patita pavana.
Tumi doya moi patita pavana. Patita tara nirata. technically speaking, it's actually a prayer to the Lord, and normally we would conclude it with Hari He, like a call to Hari, to the Lord. But it is also a prayer that we address to our Guru also. But technically it is a prayer to the Lord. So normally we conclude with Hari He. Hari He, Hari He, Hari But if we were in Bengal, then because it's their own language, it's a different thing. So they may throw in some what are called akars, means ornaments. Like they'll take some lines from the song and then add some other lines for emphasis, and like you see in those phrases in brackets that are in some of our songs. You see they're there. Like that, E baramai doya kodo, please rescue me this time. That's a common one. Shadan diya, seva diya. There's a few different ones. Yeah, that's right. There's a little handout there, isn't there, with some of the akars. They're very sweet, because when it's your own language, it's a different thing. So like you'll hear some recordings of Gurudev singing some of these songs, and he's adding all these extra things. So thank you, Guru. Eba Ramai Doya Kodo, please rescue me this time. Pati Pavan Goda Hari. Eba Ramai Doya Kodo, O Savior of the fallen, Gaur Hari, please save me this time. Shri Charane Shadan Neelam, I have taken the shelter of your lotus feet, like that. Shri Charane Sevadiya, give me the service of your feet, like that. Bajo, Bajo, Bai, oh brothers, just worship the Lord. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. Okay. Well, I would like to try and sing this song because I feel it's very appropriate. Oh, can you turn on the lights, Prabhu? Page 180. Because it's very appropriate, at least for myself right now. Feeling, putting some emphasis on the need to have confidence in the Lord's protection. This is in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sharanagati. There's these 6 limbs of Sharanagati. And this song appears in the section on confidence in the Lord's protection. I believe it appears there. But it's in that section. It's in that mood. Oh, but I forgot. Let's read the translation for the song we just sang. By what personal knowledge or strength has one such as I come to your shelter? Surely it is by your mercy alone, for you are ever seeking the purification and deliverance of the fallen souls.
What page is it?
166, the one you just sang.
You are my only hope, for you are full of compassion and mercy. There is no one who needs your mercy more than I. You will surely drive away all fear.
No one else has the power to deliver me, O merciful Lord. By your declaration, kindly deliver this vile and worldly sinner.
I have given up everything and come to your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant, and you are my protector and maintainer, O Lord of the universe.
Everything is yours. I am merely a servant, certain that you will deliver me. I have chosen your lotus feet as my only shelter. I no longer belong to myself.
Weeping, Bhaktivinoda takes shelter at your feet. Forgive his offences. Afford him a taste of the holy name and kindly maintain him.
And so this song and the previous song, Emana Dormati, Srila Gurudev said Srila Sridhar Maharaj would often ask him to sing on important days, when there was some, like public occasion, event. Because he said Guru Maharaj wanted me to have some consciousness, about my position. And so in these songs, they're very beautiful expressions of surrender, this mood of dependency upon one's master, this mood of taking shelter, and, feeling one's helplessness and the need for shelter of the Lord and Guru, of course. So they offer very wonderful meditation for us. Okay, so I'd like to sing this song on page 180, which is very good meditation for myself, at least this time. See if I can sing it properly. Atma samarpane gelaya abhiman nahi karubo nija raksha vidhan.
Atma samarpane gelaya abhiman nahi karubo nija raksha vidhan.
Tuadana janata tuhura kobinata alya godana jani kodi tuasata. Maybe it works better one line. Maybe. Chado bimadava jamunatire Bamchi bajao to dako bidire Agavaka marato raksha vidana Sadhu visada tu goku Surrendering my soul unto you has lifted from me the burden of false pride. No longer will I try to provide for my own safety.
I know that you will give protection to your treasured possessions, O Lord. I now understand the mentality of your treasured cows safely maintained by your side.
When you lead your herds to pasture, O Madhava, on the banks of the Yamuna River, you will call to them by softly playing on your flute.
By slaying great demons such as Agasura and Bahasura, you will always provide full protection, O Khan of Gokul.
Fearless and confident of your protection, I will drink the waters of the Jamuna.
The Kaliya serpent's venom poisoned the Yamuna's water, yet that poison will be vanquished. You will purify the Yamuna, and by such heroic deeds enhance our faith.
You will surely protect me by swallowing forest fire. Thus you are called Gopal, protector of the cows, and Govinda, pleasure of the plants.
In order to curb the malice of Indra, king of the demigods, he will protect me from his torrents of rain, O lifter of the mighty Govardhan hill.
When the four-headed Brahma abducts me along with your cowherd boyfriends and calves, then also you will surely protect me, O Gokula Hari.
Bhaktivinoda is now the property of Gokul, your holy abode. O Keshava, kindly protect him with gentle loving care.
So nice, isn't it? To live in confidence, in this consciousness of having confidence in the Lord's protection. This is the solution. The Lord is there, the Lord cares for us, the environment is not against us. The Lord is in control, and His protection is there. No matter, of course, this is the difficulty, that protection may take different forms. That protection may not be manifest on the physical plane. There may be apparently, challenging, opposing physical circumstances. But that the protection that comes from the Lord, it exists on a more subtle plane. Of course, it may manifest in a gross way. It may manifest in the form of physical protection, but it is beyond that. It is not necessarily. It will not necessarily be expressed in such a way.
Do you recall this expression that like a cowardly boys were sitting with Krishna, and all of a sudden Krishna jumped up and started to run somewhere? And then he stopped halfway and slowly returned back and sat down. And they're like, "What's going on? Where did you run?" He said, "Oh, there was someone was trying to attack, or someone tried to disturb my devotee. But why did you come back? Oh, he picked up the stone."
To protect himself.
Yeah. So something like that.
As in the devotee was in some sort of trouble and Krishna was running to
Yes,
the devotee picked up a stone to protect himself and say Krishna.
Yeah, he seeks shelter or protection in something of the world rather than.
Parikshit Maharaj, when he's facing death, and there's that beautiful expression which Srila Sridhar Maharaj is included at the beginning of his section on Rakshishyatiti Vishvasa, confidence in the Lord's protection. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj highlights the statement of Parikshit Maharaj with his own illumination of it, saying that to have the conviction even in the face of impending doom, that tidings of the Lord, Harikatha, they offer the only real protection. And then he cites Parikshit Maharaj's verse, which is very beautiful. Tammapayatam pratiyantu vipra ganga cha devi chitta dritta mishe. What is it? Tammapayatam pratiyantu vipra ganga cha devi dritta chitta mishe. Dvijo pashushta kuhakas dakshakova dashatvalam gayata vishnugata. Very bold statement saying, let this let this snake bird or whatever magical creature has been incited to kill me, let it do so at once if it so wishes. But my only prayer is that all of you noble souls, he's speaking before Mother Ganges and assembly of great sages, saying, may all you noble souls think of me as a servant of the Lord, and may you continue with this Vishnu Gata, these talks of the Lord, may that continue perpetually. What will happen to this mortal body of mine within this temporary plane? Let it happen. It is of no consequence. It is of no importance. But this talk that you can give, this is pertaining to the eternity, to the eternal, substantial plane. That is the only substantial thing, the only thing, the real important. So let that continue. What will happen to this mortal frame? Let it happen. Does not matter. But these talks pertaining to the absolute truth, they must continue without hindrance. Padam vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And then the following verse there in Prapana Jivanamrita is a very famous one. Tattenu kampam susamiksham. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj's illumination, there is such conviction, such confidence as expressed by Parikshit Maharaj is only possible when one can see the Lord's grace in every situation. One can see with deeper vision that the Lord's mercy, His kindness, His anukampa is behind whatever is taking place. Tate nukampam susamikshāmano punjane vatma kritam vipakam vidvagva purbir vidadan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sa dayabak. That, on the one hand, one can realize that what is taking place, it is, who is responsible? I am responsible. And we can also say, there's karma and there's also collective karma. There's different types of karma. There's individual karma and there's collective karma. One may not be directly responsible for everything that one is experiencing, but just to be in that particular society of persons, how did you come to be a part, to be a member of such a society? There is some responsibility there. How did we come to be associated with such a group? We have entered the band of the thieves. Maybe we're not committing every crime, but we signed up in a general sense. So there's some indirect responsibility there. So first to acknowledge, and the advice given in this verse, Srila Sridhar Maharaj describes it as giving the highest regulation given in any scripture. Because our minds, our senses, they're spinning. They have the tendency, they're highly prone to becoming disturbed. And, we're reacting against the environment in different ways. But what is given in this verse, it helps to regulate us. It will help to regulate the thrust of our conscious existence. That, one, that we will accept our own responsibility, our own involvement in what may be disturbing us, whether physically or mentally. That on the one hand, and then on the other hand, to see on a higher level, not only that it is something we must tolerate and accept our responsibility to, but on a higher level, that the Lord's grace is there. Also, it is not just a dry mechanism that is operating in the environment in a mechanical way. The law of nature is, like a computer program, calculating. That element is there, of course. That aspect is there. But the Lord's mercy, the Lord's affection, the Lord's grace is also there. So to have that broader and generous vision, to see how we can learn, how we can be benefited, how we can grow from what trouble, what disturbance we face. To see it is all an expression of affection. Srila Maharshi, he gives the simple and very helpful example. A mother may be observed slapping her child, and a passerby may protest. What is this? You cannot treat your child like that. And of course, nowadays you actually can't. According to the law. So a passerby is just seeing this isolated incident, right? That a mother is slapping her child and may protest. What is this? Why are you treating your child in such a mean, nasty way? But that person has not seen what happened previously, has not seen what the child has done, and can also not see the love and affection that is in the heart of that mother. And then, also in that mood, to see how the Lord's protection is upon us. So, in the current circumstances, we're all being challenged in different ways. Some people are disturbed because of the element of mortality. Being confronted with our mortality, because we didn't know that we were going to die. There were people who were dying like every second of every moment of every day, but we didn't know. We didn't really believe it. We thought it was all a lie. Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti yama mandiram Shesha stavram ichanti kimas charja tapadam. No. This is what Yudhishthira Maharshi states as being the greatest miracle, the most wonderful thing. That every day people are entering the temple of death. But the people who are remaining behind, they are thinking, it won't happen to me. So we're very busy, investing so much money and building high skyscrapers and making so many plans for 50 years from now, working hard like an ass so that we can have a few years of retirement, all these things, We're planning for 20 years ahead. And we're not really living in the consciousness that we could die at any moment. because we don't really believe it. So what we're really faced with now is that we're being confronted with the fact that we are mortal beings and we do die. That's actually what we're dealing with now. So some people are disturbed by that. Other people are disturbed because there's economic, challenges. And that is a real practical concern. There's that aspect. Social aspects, the people cannot go out as they would like to, so everybody's at home. So there's we're very privileged here actually. We have this very beautiful temple and space and a garden and big rooms, but some people are like in little one-room apartments, with terrible relationship with their family, there's a lot of difficulty, disturbance that people have to face, And then another concern, and this is actually this is my issue that I'm dealing with, is that what's taking place now is not just something that's taking place now, but it's going to change our world, as we know it. It's not that things are just going to go by. Something of such great, effect. It's not just one incident. It's something that's going to change and facilitate a completely different way of life, So, there are concerns about Orwellian type, totalitarian, existence, government. And those are the things that I'm fighting with, in my heart. But I was thinking different points, and one important point, which I've been wanting to discuss, but I haven't yet, is that the nature of bhakti, the nature of devotion, is described as a haituki apratihata. Means that it has no... There are different ways that this phrase is understood. It is in a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. I've forgotten now what the first line of the verse is. Does anyone know that verse? Ahaitukiya pratihata. I've forgotten what the first line is. I've forgotten the verse completely. I just remember that line right now. It's a definition of let me try and find it. Ahaitukiya pratihata yayatma. Oh, that's it. Savai pum sam. Very nice verse. Wonderful meditation. Savai, we had this put up in our Dum Park temple on the wall. I think Tirtha Maharshi, Tirtha Maharshi had it painted. But, most likely under Srila Gurudev's direction. But Savai, famous verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai pum sam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Savai pum sam paro dharmo. What is the highest dharma? There are different conceptions of dharma, different conceptions of duty, of one's path and life. But what is the highest conception of dharma for all persons, not just one or two, not just for you and this social order and you and that particular, situation in society, but, not you and this gender or whatever, etc., but for all souls, for every single soul, every single person, human, animal, plants, tree, everything. Savaipam samparodamar yato bhaktir adhokshaje is to render bhakti to the Supreme Lord, who is referred to here by the name of Adhokshaja, which is significant because, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he highlights that. And he points out that this name of Adhokshaja it is a favorite word in Bhagavatam. It is a favorite name of the Lord in Srimad Bhagavatam, Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja means what is beyond the reach of our senses.
The word transcendental, that's like the New Age version of that word.
Transcendental, yes. Yes. Beyond the perception of our senses. Transcendental. Beyond the mundane. We can only know that plane if he chooses to reveal himself to us, to descend to the plane of our perception. But with the full, endeavor of all of our senses, we cannot come close. We cannot approach him. We can only know him if he chooses to approach us. So, inconceivable, transcendental. So his ways are unknown to us, It is a very helpful adjustment. Means that, his will may not always be understood to us. His will and his movements, his play, it may not always be clear to us, Like it is also mentioned at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. What is that very nice expression in the beginning? The first verse of Bhagavatam. Janmadyasya Arto Abhigya Swarat. That he knows the artha, he knows the meaning, he knows the purpose for everything that may take place. As Srila Sridhar Maharaj says very nicely in one place, he knows why the grass is moving this way and not that way. Every movement he knows the purpose of, and it cannot take place without his sanction. It may not be his direct desire, but his sanction is there in the background. So he knows the reason, he knows the purpose for which everything is taking place. And, Arto, Abhigya. Abhigya means he knows perfectly well the artha, the meaning, the purpose. But at the same time, Swarat means he is independent. Means he does not have to come and explain to you why. He can do as he likes, and he doesn't have to explain to you. He's not bound to come to your level to sit down and explain to you why. No. He can do as he pleases, and we just have to adjust. So that kind of Lord, we're being told, we're being told actually from the beginning of Bhagavatam, so far you've been trying to squeeze divinity into your little concocted version of existence. But now you need to flip things around and try to adjust yourself to that higher world.
Is there this word in English language, Samadur? Is there such a word in English language, Samadur?
Can you spell it?
Samodur.
That sounds like a Sanskrit word or something. I don't know.
It sounds like an English word. It sounds like an old English word.
Maybe, it's not a very common probably word, but it means the one who takes decisions not based on the environment. So the first thing that comes in his mind, he just does.
The one who takes decisions
Without, so the environment cannot force him to take a certain decision. So the decisions he comes up with is not the result of the circumstances he is in. Let's say if you take in consideration situation. There's a room and there's a sausage in the middle of the room. When the dog is running inside that room, he's predestined to act in a certain way. So he goes and grabs it. So his choice is forced by the environment. But when it comes to the Lord, to God, he takes decisions, or he decides to do things not based on what the environment tells him or what the environment suggests. Like, you can say you can do something good, but he can punish you. You can do something bad, and he will. So you can't make him act in a certain way by acting somehow.
Yeah, we can think about that and talk about that. Yeah. So where was I then? Arto abhigya swarat, adhokshaja. So in Loving Search for the Lost Servant, Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses this verse very nicely, that your highest duty will be to submit to the supreme cause, which has no rhyme, who is invisible, who is invisible, and has no rhyme, no reason, like that. Very, very nice expression. Will be adherence to that prime cause, who we cannot see, we cannot understand at present. Full surrender. And then, so Savaipam Sam, Parodharmo, Yato Bhaktir, Hokshaje. And then the next one, Ahaituki Apratihata, Yayatma Suprasidati. And then it continues, what must be the nature of such bhakti? That Ahaituki. So there's two meanings here. I'll give the general meaning first, and then Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives a much deeper, very profound meaning also. So the general meaning here, ahaituki, means without cause. So means without any. So the general meaning is that it is causeless devotion in the sense that one doesn't have any ulterior motive, that one doesn't have any selfish. There's no selfishness there. There's no conditions attached. That one is simply offering devotion, offering one's service, dedication for the cause of the Lord, for the cause of Guru and Gauranga. Without it, it is Shuddha Bhakti. It is unmixed with any ulterior motive. So in that is one meaning, the general meaning given of ahaituki. And then a pratihata, without that it is irresistible, in the sense that it is performed all the time, 24 hours a day. It's not, we do this on Sundays and then the rest of the week we do whatever we want, or we do this in the morning program and then the rest of the day we do what we want, or I do this 50% of the time and the other 50% I do whatever I want. But no, in order for this bhakti to be yayatma suprasidati, means fully satisfying to the self. In order to tap into that level of deep satisfaction, it has to be done 24 hours a day, continuously. Because you will experience the result according to the degree of what is being given. So if you're giving, I know, if you ask me, why aren't you a realized soul right now? I'll say, I know, because I'm not giving 100%. Why am I not experiencing ecstatic bliss when I chant the holy name? Because I'm not giving 100%. If I were to give 100%, then I know that I would experience a lot more from the other side. But I'm not. So I'm not getting the full result. So this is one way this phrase is explained, ahaitukiya pratihata, that in order to experience that full self-satisfaction, then the nature of one's devotion, of one's bhakti, must be without any material motivation, must be purely in the Lord's interest, and it must be performed, must be offered continuously, non-stop, every moment of every day. So that is one way that is understood, that verse. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives a very wonderful explanation of the verse, where he says, he explains that that the nature of bhakti, of real bhakti, is that it does not have, when causeless is mentioned, means in the sense that it has no material origin. It has no material cause. The cause of bhakti is bhakti. That is something that descends from the higher plane in connection with the heart of a Vaishnava who has that property. And a pratihata, it cannot be checked by any wave of this world. So it has no material origin, and nothing material can stop it. It is this irresistible, fundamental flow of reality. So it is something that is comforting in the midst of circumstances in the objective plane, which we would ordinarily seen as being inconvenient or difficult or an obstruction in some way. Whatever circumstances are taking place within the objective plane, nothing can check that flow of bhakti. It is an independent, spiritual, divine, irresistible, indomitable flow. So like the example, very extreme example is there of Prahlad Maharaj, that he's imprisoned and tortured by his father. We want to talk about difficult circumstances. We want to talk about traumatic circumstances. Not only is he facing, this type of, difficulty, but it's inflicted by his own father. We want to talk about father issues. That's real cause for father issues. But in the midst of all of that, Prahlad, he's because of the level of his devotion, he's really undisturbed by that. He's not only undisturbed, but he's happily fixed in devotion to the Lord. He is indifferent to his physical environment, physical circumstances. And that current, because that current of devotion, it is not affected by the material environment. So I was thinking about that today. And Hiranyakashipu, he's for a certain period of time, he's being allowed to think that he's dominating, that he's controlling. He's being allowed to think that for some time. It's his illusion, And the Lord, he may, there's like some play there actually in allowing persons to believe that they are the supreme controller. Let them play their little game. Even when Hiranyakashipu, when Nrsingadev finally appears to protect his devotee, and they're starting their fight, Nrsingadev, he doesn't immediately just kill him. He plays like some game with him, and there's some back and forth going on, and all the devas are watching on the edge of their seats, what's going to happen. So, and there's some mention there, maybe in the purports, how the Lord, He lets people have their little fun, have their moments, where they can think, that they are the all-controlling one. So, people that, may have that illusion, but it does not reflect, the reality. And I was also thinking how devotion, the current of bhakti, it's always something underground. It's always a little hidden. If we think about the nature of Vrindavan, Krishna chooses to manifest his highest plane, highest abode, as a remote little village, and they live a very simple life, raising cows and churning butter and so on and so forth, taking their cows to pasture and all these things, and so Lord Brahma, he's completely bewildered. But you see, they don't care, they're, externally speaking, they're living a very neglected life in a remote corner of the world, But they don't care, They're interested in the inhabitants of that plane. They're interested in the exchange of love and in tasting rasa. And that's, of course, centered around the service of the Lord, in the mood of dedication. So, they don't care what anybody thinks. And so Lord Brahma, he's bewildered. Lord Brahma is being allowed to believe that he's the great, mighty creator, right? And so when he sees Vrindavan and he sees Krishna, he's very puzzled by all these things. He's thinking, I don't remember creating this. He's thinking this is a little village that's within the jurisdiction of his dominion, right? And this is some little cowherd boy. Little 10-year-old cowherd boy who's getting a bit too sure of himself, and he's gonna check these people out, And then Indra also, he's affronted because this boy is interrupting his sacrifices. They're not acknowledging my supreme position as the Almighty King of heaven. So, they're being allowed to have their power trips. And the residents of Vrindavan, they don't care, They're living a very happy life, of devotion. So I was thinking, I was thinking in terms of my own disturbance, facing this type of prospect of what is looking, like a very possible future for our world, That who cares actually? That, we need to tap into that eternal current. And we know what is what, and we know who is who. And we simply need to try and keep peace with our environment. And there are so many beautiful examples of that. When Rup and Sanatan they're approached by that proud scholar who wants to debate with them, and they're not very interested. They don't have any interest at all in proving themselves to the world, having some position in the world, or having some position of dominance within the world. They don't care about that. And so they just tell him, we're kind of busy, We're writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Upadeshamrita, we're busy, sorry, we don't have time. Oh, well then you sign my paper to say that you've been defeated by me. Sure, no problem. I'll sign your paper, you can go and publish it in all the newspapers. No, I don't care. Take with it, take what you want, We're interested in a deeper and finer, a more subtle plane of life. So, people need to feel that they are in control, they need to play their games and so on and so forth. Let them play them. No problem. No problem at all. We are interested in a deeper plane of life. There's also in that section, confidence in the Lord's protection. Srila Sridhar Maharaj quotes a very beautiful verse, and it's one of the few verses that is attributed to Mahaprabhu himself. We have the Shikshashtakam, and then there's just two other verses which are said to also be Mahaprabhu's own expressions, and this is one of them. Dadi matana ninadais tyakta nidra prabhate nibrita padam agadam balavinam pravishta. What's it? Mukha Udipan Kavalita Navanita Patumam Bala Krishna. And he's describing this very beautiful. And the Srila Sridhar Maharaj's illumination is also very nice. He says that the highest protection is given by Krishna of Vrindavan, something like that. And then this verse, it's a very beautiful, very charming description of baby Krishna. He wakes very early in the morning, and nibrita padam means like on tiptoe, like very stealthily. He goes to the room where the butter is kept, and he with his lotus mouth, he very quietly blows out the candles. Dadi matan ninadais tyaktan, giving up sleep, early morning, just as the sun is starting to arise, but there's still darkness just before the sunrise. He giving up sleep. Dadi matana ninadais tyakta nidra prabhate. And he's going on tiptoes, very stealthily, blowing out the candles, and then, very quietly going to take that butter. And then Kavalita Navanita Patu Mam Bala Krishna. May that baby Krishna be my only protector. So, it's very, very sweet, and, but one could be puzzled here. Why would one choose, this particular manifestation of the Lord as one's protector? He doesn't hold any weapon, doesn't have any big muscles, doesn't have 4 arms, doesn't hold a Sudarshan chakra or a club or a bow and arrow or a trident, nothing like that. He's just this very cute, little, charming, beautiful child, naughty child, who likes to steal butter. So practically speaking, there's no protection there. So the protection that's being referred to is pertaining to a higher, finer, more subtle plane of existence, the plane of the heart, actually. The fulfillment of the heart, the satisfaction of the heart. This is the highest type of protection. May not be pertaining to your physical existence within this phenomenal plane. So, such beautiful, high and sweet, adjusting things that we hear, really what we are given by our gurus, it is the answer to everything. Perfectly, every situation can be harmonized, can be adjusted. These principles, we can speak of them as abstract principles, but if we will actually apply them in our lives, we will see what concrete value they have. They are actually more concrete than anything that this world has to offer in a supposed concrete. This world will vanish. What will be left behind? Only such things pertaining to a, finer existence. So, we pray our faith may be guided and strengthened by remembrance of such teachings and such a sweet and beautiful high ideal of life. And we pray for the strength, spiritual vision to face, whatever we may have to face. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So I think it's time for arati, right? Okay. Maybe we'll stream the arati, right? Sure. I'm sorry, Ramanandapu, I was a little rude. Just when you're on a train of thought, and I didn't really understand what you were saying. But it sounded very nice, very philosophical, but I just, I have to think about it. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Girin Hari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Girin Hari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Radha Shri Vasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Radha Shri Vasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha.
Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha.
Shri Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghunatha.
Shri Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghunatha.
Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jaha Vaite Vignana Shabista Purana.
Jaha Vaite Vignana Shabista Purana.
Echai Gosai Jar Mui Chanadasa.
Echai Gosai Tar Mui Chanadasa.
Tansabhada Pada Denu Mura Panchagrasa.
Tasabara Padarenu Mora Panchagrasa.
Anena Charana Sabi Bhakta Sabi Bhakta.
Ayana Charana Sevi Vastu Swami Vasa.
Janame More Abhilasa.
Janame More Abhilasa.
Echai Gosai Jabe Bedre Kodobasa.
Echai Gosai Abhilasa.
Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Odina Prakasha.
Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Gaurila Prakasha.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana.
Guru Vaishnava Kali Bhajai Ramana.
Guru Vaishnava Pari Navayana.
Guru Vaishnava Kali
Jai.
You think you can see it? Let's start with the Panchatattva.
This
Jayo, Jayo.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Vanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura
Hari Hari Om.
Jai.